In this tutorial, I'm going to show you a bunch of cool things you can do with strings in Python. So, let's start by declaring a variable called course and set it to Python for beginners. Now, this string we have over here is technically an object in the real life. As a metaphor, think of the remote controller of your TV. This remote controller is an object, and it has a bunch of capabilities such as turning the TV on, turning it off, changing the volume, and so on. Now in this program, this course variable is stored in a string object. This string object has a bunch of capabilities. So if we type course dot, you can see all the string capabilities available in a string object. These are basically functions that you can call, just like the print or input functions. The difference is that the print and input functions are general purpose functions. They do not belong to a particular object. But the functions you see over here are specific to strings. Now, more accurately, we refer to these as methods. So when a function is a part of an object, we refer to that function as a method. So let's look at a few examples. Here, we have a function of a method called upper, and we use that to convert a string to uppercase. So if we print course.upper and run this program, we can see our course in uppercase. Pretty useful. Now what you need to understand here is that this upper method does not change our original string. It will return a new string. So right after this, if we print course, you can see that our course variable is not affected. So the upper method returns a new string. Similarly, we have another method called lower for converting a string to lowercase. We have a method called find to see if our string contains a character or a sequence of characters. For example, so here we can pass y, and this will return the index of the first currency of y in our string. So, in Python, the index of the first character in a string is 0. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So when we run this program, we're going to see one of the terminals because the index of y is 1. Take a look. I'm going to delete this line. We don't need it anymore. Let's run our program and see what we get. The index number of the letter we requested. As I told you before, Python is sensitive to lower and uppercase letters. So if I pass an uppercase y here, this find method returns -1 because we don't have an uppercase y in the string. We can also pass a sequence of characters, for example, 4. So this will return the index of the word 4. Take a look. So it is 7. Now there are times we want to replace something in our string with something else. To do that, we use the replace method. So we can replace 4 with a string containing the number 4. Take a look. So Python for beginners. Obviously, if you look for a character or a sequence of characters that don't exist in our string, nothing is going to happen. For example, if we try to replace x with 4, obviously we don't have x here, so nothing is going to happen. Also, just like the upper method, the replace method is not going to modify our original string, so it is going to return a new string. This is because strings in Python and many other programming languages are immutable. We cannot change them once we create them. Whenever we want to change a string, we will end up with a new string object in memory. Now, one last thing I want to cover in this tutorial is that there are times you want to see if your string contains a character or a sequence of characters. One way to do that is using the find method that we talked about. So, let's see if our string contains Python. When we run this program, there is the index of our first occurrence of the word Python in our string. Now in Python, we can also use the in operator, so we can write an expression like this. We type a string, Python, then we type in. This is a special keyword in Python. This is what we call the in operator. So after that, we type the name of our variable. So with this expression, we are checking to see if we have Python in course. As we can see, Python code is very readable. It's like plain English. So when we run this program, instead of seeing the index of the first occurrence of Python, we see a Boolean value. This is more desirable in a lot of cases. Next, we're going to look at arithmetic operators. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you the arithmetic operators that we have in Python. These are the same arithmetic operators that we have in math. For example, we can add numbers, we can subtract them, multiply them, and so on. So let's print 10 plus 3, then press run, and we will have 13. So this is the addition operator. We also have subtraction, we have multiplication and division. Now technically, we have two different types of division operators. We have a division with one slash and another with two slashes, so let's look at the differences. If you use a string slash, we get a floating point number, that is a number with a decimal point. But if we use double slashes, we get an integer, a whole number. We also have the modulus operator that is indicated by %, and this returns the remainder of the division of 10 by 3. So that is 1. And finally, we have the exponent operator that is indicated by two asterisks. So this is 10 to the power of 3. So when we run this, we get 1000. Now, for all these operators that you saw, we have an augment assignment operator. Let me explain what it means. So let's say we have a variable called x, and we set it to 10. We want to increment the value of x by 3. So we have to write a code like this. X equals x plus 3. When Python executes this code, it is going to evaluate this expression or this piece of code. The result of this expression is 10 plus 3, which is 13. Then it will store 13 in the x. Now there's another way to achieve the same result using less code. We can type x plus equal 3. What we have on line 3 is exactly identical to what we have on line 2. So what we have here is called the augment assignment operator. We have this assignment operator, but we have augmented or enhanced it. Now here we can also use subtraction to decrease the value of x by 3. We can use multiplication and so on. And this concludes the arithmetic operators in Python. Right now let me ask you a question. I'm going to declare a variable called x and set it to 10 plus 3 times 2. What do you think the result of this expression will be? This is a basic math question that unfortunately a lot of people fail to answer. The answer is 16, and here's the reason. In math, we have this concept called operator precedence, and that determines the order in which those operators are applied. So multiplication and division have a higher order, which results in this part of the expression getting evaluated first. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then the result is added to 10. That is why the result of this expression is 16. Now in Python operator, precedence is exactly like math, but we can always change it using parentheses. For example, in this expression, if you want 10 plus 3 to be evaluated first, we can wrap it in parentheses. So you do it just like this. Now when we execute this code, we are going to see 26 because 10 plus 3 is 13, and that multiplied by 2 is 26. To verify this, we print the x and we get 26.